Good evening. You're watching State of the Nation on GB News with me, Alex Armstrong. On tonight's show, the vilification of young, disadvantaged, white working-class boys keeps raging on, and I'm sick of it. They deserve a real defence, one they should hear loud and clear on national television, one only this channel is bold enough to say out loud. Meanwhile, illegal migrants are being offered discounts to smugglers by posting TikToks of their channel crossing when they come to the UK. So much for smashing the gangs, hey, Keir Starmer. And as a leaked report into Net Zero finds that it will crash the economy, we'll be having a head-to-head on whether it's time to ditch Net Zero. Plus, as a 140-year-old prep school closes because of Labour's VAT hike, I'll be speaking to one of the parents who's been left outraged by this decision. State of the Nation starts now. Welcome back to State of the Nation. Why can't we just leave poor young white boys alone? Why are our political classes and mainstream media still piling in, demonising them, twisting the truth, and pointing the finger at them when they're already the most forgotten and left behind group in this country? The facts simply don't lie. In almost every category, they lag behind other ethnicities. They are the most likely to lag in primary and secondary education. Only 29% of white working class lads from disadvantaged areas make it past GCSEs to A-levels. Well, let's compare that to their more affluent peers, where that pass rate more than doubles to 68%. Well, what about university, you might ask? Well, forget it. Just 13% of white boys on free school meals get there by 19. Black African kids on free school meals? Well, that jumps up to 59%. Indian kids, 57%. Yet, there are seemingly no positive discrimination programmes for those white boys, is there? There's no DEI crusade for them. And why do you think that is? But it's not just school. These boys are funnelled into dead-end jobs and more likely to end up in low-paid, insecure work, trapped in a cycle of poverty more so than any other class or ethnicity. And then what happens is they get undercut by mass imported cheap labour, don't they? And when they eventually work hard enough to go for those higher paid jobs, they're told they can't get them based on their merit because the company needed to tick a DEI box instead. We'd love to bring you in on this. You know, you're an MP, you must see some of this poverty in your constituency, perhaps, at some points in time. Why is there no help for these young lads? What have we lost? And what do you think the Tories failed to do anything about this over the last 15 years?
Well, first of all, I think everything you said was completely correct. I agree with you. And I've seen this in my own constituency. And this has been going on a long time. This DEI, equalities, inclusion, diversity, it is divisive. It's actually harming our society.
Yeah.
It's completely counterproductive. It's incredibly divisive. And I think the whole system needs to go. There should be equal opportunity for all people. And there's no doubt the statistics you've just highlighted this evening, Alex, proves that this whole ideology that the establishment of this country have brought into, under all governments, by the way, is utterly wrong and is harming the very people we are elected to serve.
Yeah.
So I think this whole system needs to go into the dustbin and everyone should be treated on merit and everyone should be given the same equal chances in life.
I completely concur. Kieran, what's true? Is this the fault of billionaires and wealthy people in the country?
No, not at all. It's the fault of a political class that has simply got this wrong over a very long period of time. We've been driven along by this ideology which has been promoted by the left, and it's incredibly divisive and it needs to be washed away entirely. So the idea that a young person is treated differently because of their colour is wrong. Everybody should be treated the same. In my constituency, it is predominantly white working class, but we have people of all backgrounds. And I want all my constituents to have the same equal opportunities in life. You don't do it by DEI. DEI is achieving the opposite of that.
Yeah, welcome back to State of the Nation. Well, the Labour Party promised it would bring an end to the Channel migrant crisis by smashing the gangs. But News Today has made a complete mockery of this, hasn't it? Illegal migrants are now being offered discounts by smugglers if they document their journeys on TikTok. A sort of illegal migration marketing, if you will. A normal trip would cost the average migrant anywhere between £1,500 and £6,000. But apparently, this discount could be worth as much as £2,000. Well, I'm joined now by my panel, Conservative MP Andrieu Rosindell and political commentator Kieran Andrieu. Andrieu, I'm going to start with you on this one because, of course, you know, we can't negate the channel crisis underneath the last Conservative government. Look, this is just getting out of hand now, isn't it? You know, this is like sort of a Tesco meal deal for migrants. They get a discount for coming over here when and literally flaunting the fact they're breaking our borders. What's going on?
Well, it's an outrage, and the last government failed to get a grip of this. But this government has completely failed.
Yeah.
We're now seeing a higher level of people coming in than ever before. It's only going to get worse, and now they're offering discounts and advertising. It's absolutely shocking.
Shocking.
And the British people have had enough. So Keir Starmer and his government, they're going to have to do something. Otherwise, they will have zero credibility. Now, they ditched the Rwanda policy.
Yeah.
The Rwanda policy had its issues, and mostly because of the ECHR, which, by the way, I think we should leave that so that we can control these things for ourselves. But you can't go on like this.
Yeah.
This is outrageous. We are actually allowing our country to be used and abused in a way that the British people are not going to tolerate for very much longer. So what's Labour going to do about it? They said they were going to smash the gangs. They failed to do it. They failed to deal with all the issues surrounding this, and now it's getting worse.
I do push back against the meal deal comparison. People going in those dinghies have had, in most cases, very, very difficult lives, and they
How do you know
are
that?
doing it. That's why I said in
How
most
do you
cases.
know that?
Well, because I don't know about you, Andrew, but
You're
I
making
don't.
assumptions.
Yeah, but sometimes it's fair to make assumptions. I don't know about you, Andrew, but I don't fancy climbing into a dinghy and crossing a freezing
Well, why do they do it
channel.
then? France is a perfectly safe country.
Well,
Italy's a safe country. Germany's a safe country. Why do they do it?
Now we're doing circular reasoning. I gave you the reason. It's because they're desperate.
But then why? But the reason for becoming a refugee and seeking safe shelter is to escape harm.
Yeah.
When you're in France, you're not at harm, are you? France isn't at war.
Yeah.
Germany's not at war.
Yeah.
Italy's not at war. So why risk your life to come to the UK?
So that's a separate point which we can come back to.
But it's not. You just said it's circular.
It's a separate point that we can come back to, but I'd just like to make this point first. 3 out of the 5 countries that produce the highest number of migrant crossings in the boats since 2018 have been either bombed or invaded by the UK and its allies since in the past 20 years.
We didn't bomb
Either bombed or
Albania.
invaded. That's why I said 3 out of the top 5. So Iraq, Afghanistan and Syria. So first of all, maybe, here's a novel idea, try bombing and invading fewer countries.
Hang on.
Are you seriously saying, because...
Do you think it's coincidence?
Are you seriously saying, because rightly or wrongly, Britain did take part in military engagement in
rightly or
like
wrongly, we just
Iraq
dismiss it like that.
and Libya and these countries.
Yeah.
Are you seriously saying because of that, it's justifiable that these people should travel all the way across Europe, through France, in dinghies, over to the UK? You really think they're fleeing some... They're not. They're economic migrants, and they're coming here, and they shouldn't be allowed into this country. What needs to happen is a much tougher Rwanda-style policy. Anyone that tries to get into this country...
How did that work out for you last
Because of the ECHR and the Human Rights Act,
but you exist within
Labour
the legal
brought the Human
framework.
Rights Act in.
One at a time.
If you come into this country illegally, you don't come in, you're sent out immediately.
Okay.
That's the only policy that will work.
Again, I come back to my point. Oh, you mentioned Iran, right? Well, Iran has been under Western sanctions, crippling Western sanctions.
It's always our fault, isn't it, Andrew?
For 40 years. No, it's not always.
It's always our fault.
It's not.
They're a terrorist regime.
It's not always your fault.
That's
a dishonest mischaracterization.
All I can say is
mischaracterization of what I'm saying.
We live in a democracy. Kieran, you stand on a platform at an election with that approach, with your ideas, and see how many votes you get.
Yeah.
The British public have had enough. We are not prepared any longer to see our country have people coming in illegally, trying to become part of our country, all the benefits this country gives people on the basis that they are fleeing persecution. Genuine people we've always taken in, but these people are not genuine. Most of them are coming here purely to benefit themselves economically, illegally entering our country, and there is no public support for this.
Right.
We have to stop it, and we have to clamp down on it very quickly, because the British public has run out of patience.
Andrew.
Welcome back to State of the Nation. Earlier this month, the government admitted its divisive decision to impose VAT on private schools could lead to as many as 100 private school closures. And it emerged just the other day that St Anselm's Prep School in Bakewell, Derbyshire, which dates back to nearly 140 years ago, is set to close because of the move. Story, because I think it's one that many will experience across the country. But joining me on my panel now, I've got Conservative MP and Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister Andrieu Rosindell and political commentator Kieran Andrieu.
Well, it's ideological vandalism, and it's harming actually working class children. The rich families, they'll just carry on and continue to pay. Up to 280 potential schools could close because of this. And where they're going to go? Into the state sector in the main. And so it's going to harm the state sector. It's going to mean we're going to have to spend more money on state schools. And it's taking that ladder away, that ladder of opportunity for young people to go to really good top schools and come out of it with a great future ahead of them. It's ideological disaster ideologically, and the Labour Party should reverse this policy immediately.
Yeah, well, interesting stuff. There'll be more on that, I'm sure, as that data comes through. Thank you, Andrew and Kieran, for the panel today.